Ah, fixed sake, man. Can't believe I lost again, man. Can't believe I lost again. Can't believe I lost again. For frick's sake. Listen, such is life that when you're in this life, life is a game. And when we're talking about men and women, there's a game that each of us have to play. Now, you just saw me fake kind of playing Xbox. But one of the things I realized about talking about relationships is life is similar to me playing Xbox. A lot of times as men, we struggle to be able to play this life, right? We get frustrated, we get angry, we tap out, you throw the controller at the floor. I mean, if you ever played a game console, you know exactly what's happened. Like I've thrown my controller before. And I threw it quite daintily into the pillows, but some people generally smash their controller on the floor. Some people generally will smash their TV. Some people generally take their Xbox, throw it on the ground, stamp on it, and destroy everything around it, right? Life is a game. So I was listening to something quite recently. I was listening to Tony Gaskins, and it's kind of funny because I was having a thought process in my brain the other day, right? I was on the bus and I was thinking about just men and how we can navigate life and some of the struggles that we actually face. All right. And what was interesting was about it was interesting. I was thinking about how how God has helped me to be able to get to the place where I am where now, financially, mentally, spiritually, I dare say sexually, I dare say, all areas of intimacy have exponentially grown in the last few years. And the question I was asking myself was how and why, right? Because as a man, we play the game differently to how women play the game. Now, I put this really crazy title because I wanted to get people into into this particular show. I wanted to get men, especially who are in a particular place. I wanted them to get to this place, right? It says, until black women suffer and lose, black men will never win. Now, if you think of life as the game theory, right? If you ever heard about game theory, then you will believe this title to be true. If you are a person that believes in game theory, you will believe this title to be true. That the only way that I can win is if you lose. If I believe in game theory, the only way that I can win is if you lose. Now, that's not the way that life should be played, but that's the way that a lot of people play life. Now, one of the greatest frustrations about playing a game is not only losing, it is losing when you yourself, okay? It's when you yourself do not understand why you lost. See, if you lose, but you was like, I knew I was a better player, but I lost the game. You'd be like, all right, cool, I can make it. Next game, let's go again, right? I'm ready to go again. But when you lose and you don't understand why you lost, and you thought you were a better person, you might think you have some level of entitlement, and you can't understand why you lost, then of course you're going to be angry because you don't understand how you got to that position. When you understand and you get to a place where you're like, you know what? I know what I did there. I made a few mistakes here and there. That was my fault. I was stupid. Then you can also begin to readjust. But when you have no plan of readjusting because you don't know how you lost, then frustration kicks in. This is why I believe a lot of men are in this today's society. We don't know why we're losing. Shoot, it was working not long ago. It was very simple not long ago. You go to work, you get your money, you pay the bills, your bacon gets cooked, your wife's at home. You go to work, you earn your money, you buy your house with a picket fence, you have your wife, you have your kids. It's done. But we're in 2023. The game has changed. See, the reality of life is that the game will always remain the same in terms of the consistency, in terms of what it takes to win the game. But the components around it, how it actually interacts with one another changes. Like the object of a game is to win in most cases, right? But how you do that can differ, right? But the foundations are still the same in any game, right? Let me break it down to you a little bit to you, right? I was asking 10 questions as to how to play a game. The first one they said was learn how games work. Get an understanding. In this life, you have to get an understanding of how this game works with the opposite sex, right? And I'm not just talking about, and a lot of the times we're talking about is that I think a lot of people, a lot of men's anger is that they don't understand women or the game that they're playing. So what happens is we make these loads of these deductions and assumptions about what they're actually doing, and then we add these little misdemeanors into it and anomalies into the situation. Let me give you an example. If you ever played a game of FIFA, or you played a game of, let's say, COD, or you play some type of game, right? Whenever you played it, and you might lose a game, and instead of just looking at your own performance, your first thing will be, they're scripting. They're scripting against me. The game is working against me. I mean, I'm kind of diving into another point. Let me not go there too yet. It's too early to go. Let me dive into that point. That's too early, right? Let me stick to my original point. I'm gonna jump off here, and I'm gonna get too excited, right? But the first thing one has to understand is that the first thing is learn how the game works. How does the game work? How does this life work? How do women work? I need to understand that game, and that gives me an advantage straight away. Number two, I gotta stay calm. I'm gonna be emotionally regulated. I can't get topsy-turvy over any little thing. And when women say something, I get all in my my feelings. I literally just seen a tweet literally not long ago. I saw a tweet literally not long ago, right, on Instagram, but it was from Twitter. And a girl said, "Listen, I'm now 24. I'm not dealing anymore with any brokies. I'm not dealing with any men that don't have money. I want to get my bills paid because my father paid all my bills, so I'm going to pay my game." Do you know what I looked at when I saw it? I said, that's her business. I don't care. You know why? Because I'm not bothered about it no more. These things, I'm not going to get myself topsy-turvy about these situations anymore. Everyone says a lot of things on the internet, but they do different things when they're offline. Yeah? Everyone's an internet baddie and an internet gangster till you get offline. So people say a lot of stuff when they've got the mic in their hands or when they got the keyboard in their hands. A lot of people say a lot of different stuff. I'm not going to get myself stressed. The game is not to get stressed and not to get out of pocket, but to stay calm, because once you get angry, you can't actually see the possibilities and the options that are right in front of you when you're playing this game called life, right? Number three, it says configure your controls the way that you like them. Get comfortable. You understand? Yeah? Configure your controls. Get comfortable. Number four, learn the environment. Learn what your area needs from you. I grew up in Southwest London, right? A lot of people grew up in the hood, right? A lot of people grew up in, suburbs or whatever. Wherever you grew up from, you got to learn your environment and use that to your advantage. You've been born there for a reason, right? You've been born there for a reason. So you have to be able to learn. You have to take what you've learned from that place that you were born in and use it for your particular purposes, right? So you once you understand that, this becomes part of your weaponry. This becomes a part of your defense and your attack. Learn the environment. Learn how to use it to your advantage. Look, when I was out, sometimes I remember one time. Let me give you an example. I remember I was out, yeah, and this is about probably a few weeks ago, and I was out with my friends, and we came out. As I came out, I saw this girl. The girl looked at me, and I looked at her, and I said, "Why is this girl looking at me?" Oh, okay, I'm looking at her too. All right, cool. I saw she's smoking. I don't do smoke. I can't lie to you. I don't like smoke. I hate smoking, right? But she was kind of cute, so I was like, let me just talk to her a minute. So I went over there and I said, excuse me, do you know what smoking is really bad for you? She said, what? I said, yeah. I said, it's real. But I can't deliver it the same way. I can't deliver it the same way I delivered it the same way. When I delivered that day, it was really sexy. But when I deliver it now, it's not going to be the same way. Okay, but just bear with me. Let me give you what happened. So I walked over and I said, excuse me, sorry. Do you know that smoke is really bad for you? And then I said like something funny like, but you know what? I'm bad for you too. So we must also continue this conversation. Something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was something smooth. And she started laughing. And she was cracking up. I was like, what? Conversation. Boom. Now, of course, I didn't deliver it this way. I delivered it much smoother at the time. It was really clever, but I can't think how clever it was now. Right? I used the environment that I'm in. Right? I used the environment that I was in. I saw the props around me and I used it for my advantage. Now, that's just one example. I'm not saying that's literally it, but I'm just giving an example of having game, which is literally not always to be the most braggadocious or anything. It's to use your environment around you, right? Now, that's only you attracting somebody. I'm talking about even life in general. Use the environment to your advantage. Right? It's not just about me talking about just you approaching a woman. I'm talking about life in general. Because I'm just giving a summary so we can go deeper into the actual conversation, right? Okay, cool. Someone said that's cool game. Anyway, the next one is to communicate, to learn how to communicate. And I think this is really important because in this life, right, something that as individuals we need to learn is communication, right, and communication also to work with others well, right, work with others wells, right. So people need to be able to uh, communicate, talk, and be able to display and be able to communicate ideas across, right? You're talking to people, and I'm not just talking about relationships now. I'm talking about in general. When you're at workplace, you need to be able to you need to be able to communicate your ideas. This is life. You're talking about the fact that nobody sees you and nobody hears you because you don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to express your point of view across the people. Communicate. I'm not just talking about, again, I'm not just about relationships in the romantic sense, but even work and life. You need to learn how to communicate, right? Simple fact. All right, we'll go deep in this a little bit later. I just want to give a quick overview. You need to practice, right? Listen, practice makes perfect. We know this. When you're playing a sport, practice makes perfect. Do you know what's really funny? I was playing Ninja Gaiden on Xbox. Ninja Gaiden, I think number 3 or 4, I can't remember which one it was. Number 3 or 4, I can't remember. Ninja Gaiden on Xbox, yeah? I'm stuck at one point, and I really couldn't be bothered, right? I'm stuck at one point, and I really cannot be bothered. Honestly, I kept on losing at the same point, and I couldn't. Right? I couldn't lose. I didn't know how. I kept on losing, and I just left it after a while. Right? I didn't want to practice. I just wanted to play a game that I could win at very easily. This is your biggest problem. You want to play a game and just win easy. Life is not easy. It's straight up not easy. Right? It's really not easy. As a man, I'm telling you now, it's not easy. As a woman, it's not easy. But I'm talking more to the men right now. It is not easy. Okay? All right? It's not easy at all. So in this instance, when you're talking about wanting to practice, it takes practice to win, right? And here's what practice is going to break down these next 4 points, right? You need to bend the rules where you can. Do you know why? Do you know how you can bend the rules? Because you've practiced long enough to understand how the game works. When you've practiced so much, you understand how the game works. Listen, Zelda had me in a twist. Can't lie to you. I think the very first Zelda on N64, I got so far, and I don't know how far I got, but I remember getting a red and a green and a blue jersey. But after that, I got stuck, man. I didn't even finish the game, bruv. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. Now, some people will manage to complete it, but I didn't. But anyway, listen. So practice leads now to you what? Being able to bend the rules where you can. You're able to bend it because you understand how a game works. Right. So the reason why you're not the reason, and I'm going to bring it to relationship now, right? The reason why some men might be angry at women at the point in time because you don't know how to bend the rules. Yes, some men are bending the rules, right? This is what we're talking about. I hear men literally come out and be like, and I'm not. This is not a man bashing thing. We're gonna give a good balance. I'm just talking about this from a male perspective. I hear men talk about, the woman will give the nice guy, the good looking guy, early days will give that good looking guy all her goodness, and then when she gets tired, she come to the back to come to the good guy. Negro, that guy that's good looking has bent the rules. Do you understand how the game works? He bent the rules. And there are other people who can bend the rules of the game because they've practiced long enough to know how to bend the rules. Right? They know. So if you don't practice, how do you think you're going to be able to bend the rules so that you can be the exception to the rule? Because there are exceptions to the rule, right? There are. You see what I'm saying to you? But it's not a man bashing session. It's a balanced session because the ladies are getting excited now, but I got to balance it. You understand? I got to balance it. We're going to balance it a little bit. Don't worry. But I want to talk to the men right now. You understand? Okay. Number 8, you want to be able to develop a style, right? Develop a style. And I'm going to talk about this really briefly. I don't go too long. Me personally, especially when, and I'm going to talk about romantic sense again, right? I can't do what every man does. I don't have the fortitude nor the skill. You know, a certain man can just walk up to a gal and just talk to her and be like, boom. That's not always my case. Yeah, that's not always my case. My thing now, yeah, is that I'm gonna get your attention by being the best version of me, which is if you see me out, I'm gonna be dancing. And I love dancing. Don't get it twisted. It's not me trying to do anything, right? But dancing, I love it. So what I do is I create what me and my boys used to have a wording, a phrase. We used to call it, we're gonna create a scene. I have to get intelligent with it. So I'm going to create a scene. So we'll be out, we dance, a couple of guys, you know, we dance, and vibe. And then the woman be looking at, who's that guy that's dancing? Once I see you looking over, boom, I'm going over to talk to you. Why? Because I've caught your eye now. I've caught your attention. You understand what I'm saying to you? You have to play the game differently. I developed a style. No, that's my style. There are other guys who don't have that style. They'll go straight. Some guys, they stand against a wall. Some guys use their physique. Some guys use their smile. Some guys use their good looks. Some guys will even use their money. Now, I'd advise you probably not to use your money if you don't want to be caring about gold diggers. But you have to develop a style, right? That works in this life. When you're doing YouTube, I have a style. I have a particular style that I do my YouTube. When I do my interviews, I have a particular style that I like to do my interviews in. I don't like to do what everyone else does. I like to do what I like to do, which is I like to break it down first. Let's get to know you, and then we'll get into the nitty gritties. Let's understand where you're coming from, right? Because then I can get to see who this person is. That's my style, but that's not everybody's style. Some people like the tea. Some people like a more straight, direct interview. Some people like to do fun and games with it. Depends what they like to do. That's their style. But you got to practice to get to that place where you've developed a nice confidence in your own style, right? Okay, cool. Number 9, join a team. Joining a team is something I'm finding this is one of my hardest things about me doing anything in life. The trust issues I have make it difficult to join a team. Can't lie to you. Yeah. Especially when I went to university and people don't know how to play game, either play team. But I struggle with that. That's my own trauma. That's something I have to work on. But that's something I cannot get angry at someone else of. Right? I can't get angry at someone else when I personally don't know how to play team. And then I'm in a team and then the team is losing. I can't. I have to learn how to play as a team in order to conquer this life. And that means romantically, financially, you could do anything in life in general, where you see a team being developed in order to conquer a problem. Because we're problem solvers, by the way. Right? We're problem solvers. Okay? Right? And my last point on this, number 10, as a quick roundup, win. At all costs. And at all costs means it doesn't mean that you have to suffer for me to win. It means at all costs, try everything to make this win. Try everything at this cost to try and make it win. All right. That's a nice little introduction to today's conversation, but we're going to go deeper. Now I'm going to start a real conversation. So listen, if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notifications of the uploads. Okay. All right. For those of you who are returnees, look at this badge. Okay, wrong side. Look at this badge. Mineral gang, yeah? This is what we are on this page. We're a mineral gang. You understand? Yeah? What minerals means in the sense that you got the balls. You got the courage. Yeah? We are courageous people around here. We're brave. In fact, my name, Kojo Bonsu, is the Bonsu part. Brave whale. So I've always looked at it as being brave, which means you stand in the face of fear and you go forward. Okay, so you've got the minerals means you've got that bravery, you've got that courageousness. You've got that tenacity. That's what you have. So if you call yourself a mineral gang, you got that. Okay, all right. And don't forget, listen, before we go anywhere, if you haven't joined the membership, make sure you join. Our next meeting is next week. So listen, if you haven't joined the membership, you haven't signed up to the membership, sign up. It's £1, it's $1. It's not going to kill you nothing. I don't want to do it too heavy. You know what I mean? I want people to be able to join as many people as possible so we have a great conversation. So make sure you join, okay, this membership. Now we're going to go deeper into this topic because there's a lot to discuss. Okay, I gave a nice little opening. I wanted to start in nice and easy mode, but let's get to the medium. Okay, let's move the difficulty now. You've done easy, done intermediary. Let's get to the medium. Let's get to that, a little bit more difficulty. Okay, let's get to a more harder stage in this conversation so we can start having a real thing. Okay, right? Let's get to a much more harder thing in this particular place, right? So until black women suffer, lose, black men will never win. Is that true? Okay, we're gonna have a real discourse now. Okay, we're gonna have a real discourse now. Okay. Okay. Let me just put this thing here. All right. And put this thing here. All right. So I got a little banner so I know where I cut my video. You understand? Yeah. All right, cool. Life is a game. Okay, we got to play it. Okay, life's a game and that's the beginning of your problem. Okay, life's a game and that's the beginning of your problem. All right. Life's a game and that's the beginning of your problem. Because life is a game, there is a set of objectives that must be met. And because life is a game, there's a manual of instructions of how to play that particular game, right? And because there is a game when it comes to women and men and our interactions, we have to learn how to be able to play, right? It requires understanding, it requires time, it requires practice, requires energy. And sometimes you invest also sometimes your emotions into things as well. Okay. All right. Now, here's the thing. Why do I make the statement that black women have to suffer, lose before black men win? Here's the reality of the situation. Black women are winning. Oh, they're killing it. No, no, they are killing it. Okay. They are winning. Let me say it again. Black women are winning globally because they're educating themselves, they're striving for success, and the game itself is also handing those players extra help and boosters to make sure that they actually win the game. Let me say it again. Black women are winning. Not only are they winning because they're being helped, but they're winning because their hunger and their aptitude to win this game has shifted so much that they are speeding right through the levels of this game called life, right? And then the game itself, which is called a system, which is about the system, right? You can, some people call it government. I would call it just the system in general, how the flow of life works. We're at a point now where even the system itself is saying we're going to help the game. We're going to help those women in the game to even start off better. You know what I mean? Like they even progress even more quicker. Now, here's the trouble with that. You ever played a game before and you used to win, and then the game suddenly flips and you see that other people come into the game, and those other people come into the game, not only are they winning and beating, but now even the game itself is even handing them modifications before they start, right? Now, to us as black men, this can be very frustrating because what it took to win the game previously is no longer enough to win this current game. There's a need for upgrading, and that's very difficult because in reality, we're still in that same place we were before. This means me talking as a group, not as individuals. And I say again, you only need 20%. I believe only need 20% of people to actually win to shift the whole community forward anyway, right? But what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying that us as men are still killing it. By the way, black men are still killing it. Please, let's not start this rhetoric where it's like black men are not killing it. No, black men are killing it. The reality is we're having a swarm of more black women killing it even more, right? Who are coming in and they're coming with speed. So what's happening is the gap between the elite and the people at the bottom is widening so quickly between men that we're struggling to keep up with the women that are coming in a more condensed group that are quickly going through the game much quicker. The men are still killing it. We're still killing it. Don't ever get it twisted. The black men are still killing the game. But what I'm talking about is that there's a group of men who are killing it, but there's enough men at the bottom who are not able to kill it at the moment, right? There's too many of them at the bottom that are not killing it. And in the group of black women as a group, they're a condensed group, they are going through the game really quickly. And that is causing pressure on the men at the bottom. Because what it previously took, what it previously took to win the game no longer is what is acceptable anymore, right? What you were doing at easy level don't work at medium level, and what worked at medium don't work at legendary. You understand what I'm saying to you, right? The game has to change, right? And so the difficulty behind that is the first frustration. And I want to say this first of all, anger is not an issue if we break it down to what anger actually means, right? If we actually really talk about what anger actually means, some of you are in wrath, and that's not the difference between anger and wrath. But anger itself is not an issue. Why do I say anger itself is not an issue? I'll quickly just broach that and give a little bit of an understanding. Anger is an adaptive function in self-defense. Anger increases the mobilization of energy needed in self-defense, responses towards something dangerous for us. The destruction of obstacles that generate frustration and that prevent us from achieving our goals or the goals, right? What does that mean? Let me break it in simple English. You're angry because you realize the obstacles that are in your way and are preventing you from actually winning. You're angry. There's no problem with your anger. There's no problem with that. You can see the game has changed, and so it is frustrating because you've met a new wall. It's like when I start playing and I'm winning against certain players, but then when I start meeting other things, I'm losing again. I'm frustrated, right? And I'm angry because there is now an obstacle between me and that destination and that goal. Anger is not an issue. That's what the Bible says, be angry, but sin not. Anger is not an issue, man. Them men, anger is not an issue. Your anger isn't an issue. Where your anger is directed to is the issue. Anger in itself is not an issue. We all have emotions, but where does your anger get directed to? That's the key question. So now I have to ask the question, should I smash my controller because I lost the game? Well, I'm angry, but my controller shouldn't suffer because I'm angry at losing the game. My TV shouldn't suffer because I'm now angry at losing the game. My Xbox or PlayStation shouldn't suffer because I'm angry at the game, albeit I'm now answering this particular title. And I'm talking about the fact my anger shouldn't be at black women. My anger should be at myself. And I'll keep that short because I want to expand on that a little bit later. My anger shouldn't be against black women. It should be against myself because I'm angry that I'm seeing obstacles and I can't defeat those obstacles. But I'll come back there because I want to explain that what that means for us as men and why I'm just describing that and talking about that, right? So here's the fears that happen and this is why anger starts to kick up and why frustration and wrath and the real word that we're actually talking about, it's not anger. Okay, the real word we're actually talking about that men oftentimes some men are feeling, not men, but some men, all right, is not anger. It's not anger. Let me be real with you. The thing that men are feeling is not anger. It's a wrong emotion that we're describing, and it's because we don't know how to describe emotions very well. The word is envy. It's not anger. Men are not feeling anger; they're feeling envy, and the envy. And this is not all men, by the way. It's not all. It's not all. It's envy, because what is happening is they are looking at the other players who are playing the game, i.e., women. Okay, they're looking at women and they're feeling discontented or resentful, longing, all right, aroused by someone else's possession or qualities or luck. It is envy they're feeling, right? And I'm not talking about all men, by the way, again, right? It's envy. And so envy, now that you're feeling that you're frustrated, okay, all right, you're frustrated at the fact that you can see that the person who the woman beside you is zooming through the game. And here's a real frustration. It's not just that they're zooming through the game. There's other things that happen which we have to describe and make it very clear what's happening. They're not only zooming through the game or going through the game really quickly, they're pricing me out. That's where the frustration comes in. That's where the anger comes in. The anger kicks in because you're pricing me out of the market. Remember, I said to you that women are pricing themselves out of the market. Well, the other side of it is that the men also are feeling like because they're now priced out, they're now angry. That's your biggest issue. That's not your biggest issue. Right? See, I kept on talking about this, that women who are black women that are very, very, very successful, due to the fact we're not catching up, they price themselves out of the market. But here's also the reality of the flip side of this is that as a man, when you see yourself being priced out the market, what happens? You start getting angry. Let me give an example. The housing situation. Now, I'm sure many of you probably say you can buy a house. Fantastic. You are in a good spec. There's a lot of people in this world who can't afford to buy a house. And when they see stuff on the news, they get angry. When they hear people talking about their house, they get angry. When they hear people buying their house, they're angry, right? And they're envious of those people because really and truly, what they feel is that I want to be in that position. But you know what? Instead of just being like, let me work a little bit harder, let me find a way to actually do it, They get angry at the people who are doing it. Do you know who also do it? We do it. We do it to rich people. As soon as a rich person be like, that person's rich, but they must have done something. You start talking bad, wickedness. Why can't you be happy for the rich person? Oh, they must have been born with it. They must have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Why is your first reaction to be annoyed at the fact that someone's rich? Oh, look what they're doing. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right? But I'm talking about specifically our dynamics with men and women and trying to describe it from a different perspective as well, right? Okay. The difficulty that one faces in this instance, okay, the difficulty in this instance, and thank you, Anonymous Zoe Queen, and that is why Black women will suffer. That's partly why some Black women are going to suffer. That's exactly what you're talking about. You're absolutely right. You can't wait for us, and that's the issue. That's why some of them are going to suffer because you can't wait for us, and you shouldn't have to wait for us. And if you do wait for us, we will never grow. Oh no, let's have a real conversation. If you wait for us, we are never going to grow because you can't cuddle me to growth. You can't baby me to growth. I need to be able to. As a man, I need struggle. Let's have that real conversation. As a man, I do need struggle. I need it. I need a little bit of struggle. The issue with struggle is not struggle. The issue with struggle is that I don't know a way out of the struggle. That's the biggest struggle. The struggle itself is not an issue. No one has an issue with struggle. The issue with struggle is I don't know how to get out of struggle. The frustration that as somebody who's poor is not the fact that they're just poor. It's the fact they can't see no way out. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right? The frustration that some people are feeling is not that they're poor or broke, it's the fact they have no way out. They don't see the pathway to changing their destiny. They feel they're locked into that position. That's what creates the anger and the frustration because their obstacle to get into the next place, I can't see how I'm going to defeat it. But you're absolutely right. Yes, Black women cannot wait forever. And that's why, again, they'll price themselves out the market. And I'm not saying it's bad, right? And can I tell you the honest truth? Can I tell you the honest truth? Some of you need to stay single and you may die single. Oh! I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Listen, look, you can divest and do that as well. I'm not saying you can divest too. But some of you are not going to make it. Like, you have to understand it's like the promised land. I know it sounds mad. It is the promised land situation. You know, Israel, Israel left Egypt. And I know it sounds rude, Dammy, but it's the truth. Israel left Egypt. Okay, they left Egypt. The older generation died out, and the younger generation had to go through. Some of you are going to have to be single, or you're going to have to deal with Pookie and Ray Ray. I don't like saying that, but you know what I mean? You're going to have to deal with somebody who's probably going to be insecure, won't be able to love you the correct way, and it's always going to be under what you actually need. Some of you are going to be, by the grace of God, okay, by the grace of God, are going to find that correct man who's going to make more money than you, who's going to be educational, going to be on your level. But if we don't catch up, guess what's going to happen? You got two choices. Either you surrender and you divest, which is fine as well. You can divest. That's not a problem at all. You can divest everything. Maybe you'll find your man there. Or do you know what other reality? And you're going to compete with other women too. So you're still going to have competition. Or it may be that your generation, and I'm sad to say it. I don't like to say it, right? Okay. All right. I'm sad to say it. Your generation might have to die out. More of you being single so that the other men that are seeing this suddenly have to pick up their interest. I know it sounds mad. Because what happens is the market has got to a place where, and I'm not saying that women should die alone, by the way. This is not a Kim Simmons message, but I you know what I mean? I want to make it very, very clear. I want to make it very clear. I'm talking about the reality of life, okay? I'm talking about the reality of life. It's a harsh reality to life that women should not settle, okay? And listen, you're absolutely right. Listen, the men are going to die single too. We're all going to die single. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Like, I'm not saying it's just you. I'm saying to you, if you don't settle, who am I going to date? No, if you don't settle, who am I going to date? I'm going to be single too. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You can't have one without the other. If you are not choosing to settle, who am I going to date? Do you get it? If you're all winning, okay, if you're all winning, Okay, if you're all winning, when I meant die alone, sorry, I meant by die alone with a man, without being married, without having a husband. That's what I meant. I apologize. Let me make it very clear. Die without having a husband. I apologize. That's the wrong wording. So thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I do apologize. I made a wrong word in there. Die without having a husband. That's what it means. You're not going to be alone, but die without a husband. Okay. I do apologize. I should have corrected it, made it very, very clear. Right. So if you don't settle, but you're killing the game, you're financially growing, you're mentally, you're emotionally growing, you're doing all those things and winning the game, and I'm not winning, who am I going to date? If you don't settle, who am I going to date? Who am I going to date? Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? So we're all gonna suffer. This is not. It's not just for you. We're all gonna suffer because the more that women become more that black women become successful, get emotionally well, get mentally well, get financially well, bro. What do you think is gonna happen if they don't settle? Some of them are going to be graceful and they're going to find other men of other races. I'm not saying that you're not going to do that, but I'm saying there's going to be a lot of people too who won't find that. But then if they don't settle, who do I settle with? Do you see it? So, and that's why I gave the example of Israel, that the first people that were going to the promised land, they had to die off because they had the old mentality. They were thinking about the past. They were thinking about Egypt all over again. They weren't able to adjust their familiarity. And I'm going to pass my notes. I so apologize. I've gone past my notes. Okay. They weren't able to adjust to the new reality of the standard that's being put across. When you hear a woman say, I want all my, and then by the way, it's also different because American, UK are pretty different. And again, certain things are different, right? Okay. When you hear like a lady saying, listen, you know what? I don't want to be in a place where financially, I'm weakened, right? That is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What do you want? I can't do anything about that. As women become more better at being able to fend for themselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, sexually, I mean, those things. But if they can be able to fend for themselves financially and can improve mentally and emotionally, guess what happens? They elevate their status, right? As they elevate their status, I got two options as a man. I got two options. Either I meet you at your need and I meet you where you're at, or I say I'm gonna tap out of the game. You ever play the game so hard that you tap out? You're playing the game, battling, trying to finish it, trying to win, and then you tap out, right? Do you see what I'm saying to you? You have to tap out. Some people are going to tap out, but there will be a reality that there will be another group that will come in that will say we're not going to tap out because they've not faced the same things that we face. Your norms and your standards are now generally across the board. Unfortunately, where we are in society, we're in this middle gap. We're in this middle part where we've now seen women women growing and evolving, and we are the group that are watching them evolve. Right? And as I'm watching you evolve, your standards are changing, your boundaries are changing, and I don't like that because I had access to you before that now you're telling me I don't have access to. But my generations after me will grow up around women, young girls who have that mindset of evolving already. So what happens to the young men that are in that same place? They have to grow too. They have to grow too. Right? They have to grow too. Right? So at that point, okay, at that point, the next generations after us, the women will already have a standard and the men will try to meet it because it's no longer a conversation about, hey, you're doing this, you're being a gold digger, did this, did it. There won't be that conversation because it's standard. It's not standard now because we have actual examples of our grandparents, our parents, and you hear the conversation saying, my dad will do this, da, 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 da. And you hear people say, my mom will do all of this. My dad will do it. And what's going to happen is that conversation is going to go out the window because that's going to be a general thing, right? I can fend for myself. I can pay my bills. Here's what I actually need you for. As a man, okay, too. Here's what I can do. It's naturally what happens, right? It's naturally what happens. It's not. It won't be the extinction. Trust me. You won't extinct. You won't extinct because there are people that are elite. There's always people that are in our group that are elite. There are always people that are in our group that are elite. You get me? Yeah. There are always people that are going to be elite. So our class will never die. We are going to grow. It's happening already. If you see the way that Africa is responding to your Western world now, we're already changing as a black community globally. I'm talking about outside of America. Globally, we're shifting because Africa is your movement. Africa is actually your foundation. Whether you're African American, whether you're British, African, or whatever, Africa is your foundation. When they shift and they move and they grow in power, so do you. You don't grow without Black Africa growing. You'll still be in the same place. That class that you're asking to change shifts when Africa shifts, because that is that's our predominant continent. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And the fact that now we have African leaders that are telling Western world to wasn't it last time Uganda, even Ghana, have told America, stuff your policies. We don't give a damn. We don't give a heck anymore. Shut up and go. We're not taking it no more. Now, of course, China's in there at the moment because at the moment where we are at the moment, China's involved quite a bit and they're taking their turn. And I'm not gonna lie to you, right? So it's China's turn right now. As Africa begins to grow, as a black globally will also increase, right? Their fate is part of our fate. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Globally, because of the way that we're looked upon, right? Because of the way we're looked upon. I hear you. I hear what you're saying, SK. And that's politics, right? And that conversation you're having will become about once Africa comes into power, it will be about class. It will not be about whether you're black. It will be about class. That white people have the same issues. It's about class. It will come into that. So we'll have that conversation. It will come. It will happen when when Africa comes to power. The conversation you'll be having with Africa is now about class, not about the fact that we're African American. And be like, no, are you of a certain class? We don't have that luxury right now. You know what I'm saying to you, right? So as people, you're going to start to see the elevation of once Africa starts to ascend, the general, you know what I mean, the general as black people experience that as well. Okay. But anyway, so coming back into what I was talking about, because I don't want to miss what I was saying, because I want to come back. Where was I? Okay. So there's a game to play, right? Of course, someone asked what we're going to do. Okay, so there's a game. Let me put it this way. Okay, let me answer this question now. Actually, why men are actually angry at women? Okay, I kind of answered it a little bit. I jumped ahead of myself, but that's fine. We'll still answer the question. I put it in my notes that way. Why men are actually angry at women? Okay, let's go. All right, cool. All right, cool. So let's see. Okay, so why men are actually angry at women, and it's not all men. Again, I'm talking about a specific type of man. So any men out there, listen, talking about a specific type of man. Most of us don't give a heck. I'll come honest with you. I don't give a heck, and the reason why I don't give a heck is because I understand how I'm going to play my game, and because I understand myself and I understand me as a player. I don't need to get angry about women who are excelling or beating or not wanting to choose me. Do you know what happened? I was out last night at my friend's thing or whatever, my friend's boiler room, right? And there was a girl that walked past. Now I went to grab her and say, "Hey, excuse me, can I just talk to you for a minute?" She gave me a look like, I don't really want to talk. So I kind of left it. But this other guy who was drunk came along and said, "Hey man, give him a chance, man. Give him a chance. I said, "Bro, it's cool, man. Leave it, man. Don't worry. If she's not interested, I'd rather her be interested." Now, why do I mention this? Because a lot of times, listen, why am I getting angry about a situation that someone doesn't want you, or someone doesn't like you, or someone doesn't interested in you? That makes no sense. Some people just don't like you. You have to understand that. And look, you can't get angry. You can't get angry. You have to stay calm. Life is going to throw things at you. You understand what I'm saying to you? Life is going to throw things at you. But if you decide to get angry to a point where you lose control and not redirect your anger, then you're going to have an issue. You're going to have an issue, right? You're going to have an absolute issue. I don't have an issue. I want to be able to get angry at my problems and learn a way how to solve them, because that's what you're called to, right? That's what you're called to. For me, what am I called to? I'm called to solving issues, right? I'm called to solving issues. All right. So, again, I want to go over this. When you don't understand how to play a game, your frustrations will always flare up, right? One of the reasons why men are angry at women, some men are angry, some black men are angry at black women, is actually displacement. In the psychological terms, what displacement means, it is a self-defense mechanism in which person redirects an emotional reaction from the rightful recipient onto another person or object. Okay, displacement is a self-defense mechanism in which a person redirects an emotional reaction from the rightful recipient onto a person or object. Okay, so some of the reasons why we might feel frustrated, I'm angry at I'm angry at myself for losing the game, but I'm redirecting my emotion and my anger towards women. I'm angry at the fact that that girl didn't want to give me the time of day. Instead of just me going, actually, first and foremost, was my approach even good? And the funny thing was, you know what the funny thing was? When I analyzed what I said to the girl, yeah, I was like, that was weak. And I knew inside myself that was weak. Because even when I said hello, I said it kind of soft. I was like, hello, all right, can I talk to you for a minute? It wasn't my most confident self. I was a little bit scared. Let's be honest. So when I started, I wasn't. If you analyze it and take it back to its root cause analysis, were you even in your best that you're complaining? If your first instinct is to go towards whatever that other thing, rather than looking at yourself about how you can change what's being done, of course you're always going to be frustrated because you have no control over the other person. I have no control over the other woman, how she receives me. I only have control over how I deliver what I deliver. And if she receives it in a particular way, I don't have control over that. I have control over my delivery. And I hope that the delivery is good enough that she receives it. But if I can't control her receiving it, so if you try to control the external, you're always going to be angry, and your anger is different. When I talk about angry, I'm talking about your anger that turns into an action. Not an anger that's like, I'm frustrated with life and I know I need to do it. No, when you get angry to a point where you start fighting other people, you've lost it yourself. You see what I'm saying to you? Right? See what I'm saying to you? So the reality situation was, right? The reality situation is you have to go to root cause analysis. Right? What is your root cause analysis? And go figure it out that way. Right? Go figure it out that way. I don't get angry if a girl doesn't want to talk to me or it's not interested. Now, if you're rude about it and disrespectful, that's different. But if you just said to, if you're just, I could tell. Once I said what I said, I could see by her face she ain't really interested. I left it, man. You know what I mean? I was like, leave it. It's cool, man. Let the girl go, man. Let the girl go. Like, she's cool. Like, it's not a big deal. I even said sorry to her for him. Don't worry about it. It's cool, man. She went about her way. You know what I'm saying to you, right? Like, you have to do a root cause analysis. Now, I want to talk about something very specific. I think this is very specific now to dating, right? One of the things I want to talk about is really specific to what men are feeling, right? Okay, I'll give you an example, and this is real life. I want people to understand this, right? One of the biggest issues for men is feeling invisible when it comes to women. And the reason why a lot of men are invisible is because either one, they're not physically attractive, meaning that they're not physically attractive, or number two, right? Number two, the other instance is that okay, let me put it this way. I don't misquote it because if I misread it, you're gonna say it. Okay. Let me say it again. So a lot of men are frustrated because they're invisible to women. Yeah. And they're invisible because unfortunately, right, you haven't done anything to earn being visible. That is the game. I want to make it very, very clear to you. I want to make it very clear. It's the mother freaking game. Get over it. It's something I had to learn myself. Get over it. It's a game. Yeah, it's a game. And the game got a little bit harder. So what? Get over it. You got to work at the game, right? Now, some guys are good looking, and that good lookingness, it makes it easier when they approach. That's fine. That's their advantage. That is what God has given them. That's their grace and their favor. Some people are facially challenged. You have to work on your confidence in order to bypass the fact that you're not as good looking. You have to make yourself visible. Now, I always hear the stat amongst Red Pill and Manosphere and saying that, 80% of women women tend to go for the 20% of men. I hear you. Yeah, I get it. I hear you. Right? If that is true, cool. If only women can see 20% of men, how the frick do you get in that 20%? That's the question you should be asking. See, your first instance is to complain about the thing you can't control. If you do that, you're going to sign out of the game. Right? No, it's not the club, Mr. 007. You need to elevate your thinking. It's not just about the club. I gave the club as an example. I need you to elevate. You're 007, but you're not giving me any kind of intelligence with what you're doing. You need to elevate your thinking. It's not about the club. If you stay at the club, you're going to miss what I'm saying to you. It's not about the club. It's life. It's an analogy. Get it. I need you to get it, 007, because you've been commenting quite a few times. I need you to grow quickly. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I know that men like direct conversations. So I'm being direct with you. I need you to elevate your thinking because it's an analogy for what I'm talking about. I'm not directly just talking about being in the club. It's not about the club. It's about elevating your thinking and understand how the game works. And I'm using the fact that we're in the club as a way to see. Now you made me explain the whole situation. I don't understand that. I've had to explain the whole situation now to you. I'm using the club as understanding so that we can grow and using it as an example. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? 007, come on. I need to get it because you've been commenting quite a few times, but I need to get it. I need to get it. All right. And I'm hard on you the same way I'm hard on the women. So don't think it's personal. I do it to women and to men when they don't get it. So in that situation, right, if women are, for instance, looking at only 20%, right, 20% of men, the question you should be asking is not about her. It's asking about what do I need to do to get into that 20%? Right? Because women are always going to look that way. They're never going to change. They've always been that way. My mic went out. Apologies. Right? They've always done that. So it doesn't make a difference for me whether they look at 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. I don't care. My key thing is if they've always done that behavior, what do I do? How do I get inside there? Right? That's my question. How do I get there? Do I want it bad enough to go and do what I need to do to get inside there? Do I? That's the question. I can't control what she does. I'm going to be tired trying to control what women do. Right? I need to control what I do. Bronzebird said, so your world, so my world's supposed to revolve around women. No, not at all. Not at all. But we're talking about dynamics between men and women. First and foremost, you need to improve for you. Are you at your best now? No, the key question as men, I have to ask myself every day is, am I at my best? I even myself say to myself, I'm not. I'm good, but I could be better. Because I have talents, I have gifts, and I need to be able to utilize it in a better way to be able to do it. Right? I need to utilize the skills and the talents that God has given me that I can be at my best. I'm good. I'm not at my best. Now, I doubt I'd ever be at my best because you can always be better. But what I'm saying is, what we have to be able to grow as men. I want to be able to have growth, right? And so for me personally, no, life doesn't revolve around women, but part of it is women. And I'm talking about it because I'm talking about relationships in regards, right? So the first thing as men, I have to do is focus on me. What am I doing to make sure that I've leveled up emotionally? What am I doing to make sure I've leveled up mentally? What am I doing to make sure I've leveled up financially? Like, have I leveled up enough? That's the question, right? That's the key question. Have I leveled up enough for me personally? Have I done those things? Then I'm gonna be my most confident self. Then what I call is the maturation period where things just become easy. You know, when a sportsman reaches his maturation point, he doesn't struggle to do things, right? You know, like LeBron James is at his maturation point. He's probably tailing off a bit more now, he's a little bit more older. But he got to his maturation point where just buckets is easy. Steph Curry, buckets just come easy. There was a large curve of learning, and then you get to your maturation point, just like when you're at workplace, right? That first learn curve is quite steep. You learn and everything. Then you get to a place where you're at your pinnacle of your work, where you can do things in your sleep. And things just become easy. Look, I don't have to write a mad script anymore. When I first started YouTube, my book was long, bro. Oh my days. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I had a long ass book. And the book was so long. You know what I mean? The book was so long that I write notes in for every single thing I need to say before I say it on the camera. Now, me personally, now I don't have to have the book anymore. I can write 5 lines, and I know exactly what I need to say. You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah? Exactly what I need to say. You feel me? So for me personally, you know, it's interesting. And I want to make this quick point as well, right? My only issue, and some of my issues, I love the fact we're making this point about KS, and I think that's a really important point, right? If KS knew exactly what he was doing, his marketing very, very well, right? But if I know that women can't handle the direct talk that men can usually handle, which he knew, because he said that men are very direct, women are not, right? If I know that men are very direct, but women are not so direct, why would I always choose a message to be very direct to women that are not very direct? Does that make sense? No, deep it. Let's actually deep it. You know that women are not as direct, quote unquote, as men. The way that we deliver things to each other is different to how we deliver things, how we deliver things to women. If you know that, why would you choose a direct method to deliver a message to a woman then? Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. If you know that this market can't handle this kind of direct communication, why would you continue doing it? Well, there's money in you doing that because it becomes also at a point in time, it becomes very toxic in the way that you deliver that message. Let's just keep it real. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I've always said that. And there's other things that he said that which were wild. But anyway, that's another story. Let me not get distracted. Anyway, right? So you know, so that's important, right? Yeah. So also another thing is that because women are starting to upgrade in swaths, okay, because women are starting to upgrade in swaths, because women are women are upgraded in swaths, the reality of the situation is that as an individual, we're gonna have to upgrade, right? As an individual, we're gonna have to upgrade, right? So because the thing that you want, and let's say if you want a woman, let's keep it real now, because we're talking about if you want a woman, you want a relationship with a woman, if she's upgrading, what do you have to do? You're gonna have to upgrade. It's that simple, right? If the game upgrades, so do you. If the power, if the level that you're at, there's certain guns or weapons don't work at that level. You know, the demon at that end of that game, or that monster at the end of the game, that gun level that you have needs an upgrade. Guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to upgrade, right? You're going to have to upgrade. It's that simple. You're going to have to upgrade, right? You're going to have to upgrade. But okay, and that's a part of the visibility too. The upgrade is a part of the visibility, right? The upgrade is a part of the visibility. One of the things I was saying about earlier on about one of the things is formulating your own style. And the thing is, a lot of men are not used to now in a position where I don't want to say that, but I want to say this, that I see a lot of complaints, especially on the manosphere side, a lot of complaints about, um, you know, there's a lot of, um, there's a lot of men who feel invisible, but they need to develop their way of unveiling the invisibility cloak. I spoke about one of the ways. I personally create a platform. When I dance, I create a scene, right? When I dance, I create a scene. That's me trying to make myself visible. Now, I'm not thinking about that necessarily when I'm dancing. I just love dancing. But I'm also very much aware. For instance, I have a TikTok of 600,000. My TikTok's I have boys out on 1.2, 2 million. Sometimes I'm looking at I need to really increase my leverage. But my TikTok is at 600,000. My YouTube is at 74,000. Just look at the difference. So when I was in Ghana, when people see me, that's the TikTok guy. That's the TikTok guy. That's the TikTok guy. It's so much more different. And my environment that I was on made me more visible. I was different. When I come to the UK, my base that I have in TikTok, for instance, is not UK, it's Africa. It's South Africa, it's Ghana, it's Zambia, it's Gambia, it's Uganda. That's where I've created so much visibility. In UK, not so much. Okay, yeah. So if I change my environment based on what I've done, I become so much more visible. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right? That visibility changes. Sometimes your environment's an issue of where you are. Sometimes because also as well the work you haven't done. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm just being real. It is what it is. Because the kind of things that I put out are not for my UK people, right? So this is different for them. It's different for them. My content doesn't reach them because it's not for them. It is what it is. You don't have to be mad about it. You just have to understand it. You see, you're getting crazy when you should get smart. You should understand it rather than getting angry. If you understand it, you know what to do with it. Right? Also, Enigma said I have to. No, but saying that though, y'all be joining me on 4-hour lives. Americans join me on 4-hour lives. I don't necessarily have that UK base to do 4-hour lives, but we do it in US. Maybe I have something that it works in that environment. Again, you want to make yourself visible. Sometimes you're in the wrong pond. Get out, go to another pond. Literally, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're in the wrong pond. And so you can't receive and you can't give out and be blessed in the way that you need to because you're in the wrong pond. If I had stayed thinking, I need to get my UK base, I would have never grown. I currently have a totally US and Canada database. Literally, most of my database is US and Canada for YouTube. Change your environment sometimes, right? Don't get angry about the fact that this may not work here. And the Bible even says a prophet has no honor even in his own home. Yeah, prophet has no honor within his own home. You know what I mean? So you trying to beg it here, just change your environment sometimes, and that will make you more visible, man. You know what I mean? Have value, have worth, man. Some people don't want to eat. Some people don't even approach because they're afraid they don't have no value, they don't have no worth. You know, right? It is what it is, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it be like that. It be like that. You know what I mean? It be like that. All right, cool. Yeah, so it'd be like that. All right, cool. So my next point. That's true. Yes, bring value. Value is important. You need to be able to bring value. And sometimes, here's the thing as well. Here's the thing. You don't bring the value. This is why you can't approach certain people. Listen, some people are arrogant, okay? And some people some people are arrogant. You know what I mean? They know, and I don't say arrogant, sorry, let me not say that. They're confident. Apologies, wrong word. They're confident because they know that their face has value. They know their face has value. You see, right? They know their face has value, right? They know their good looks has value. They know their body has value. What do you have value in? What does the opposite sex want from you that they see value in? This is just the reality of the situation. Like you in a market where you're trying to get the person to buy into you. What do you have that they want to buy off you? right? What is it that they have that you want to buy of you? You are the product. You're the product. But why do they want to buy you? What do you have as value? Look, you can put me in a situation where I'm going to shine most. I like people that have this. I like if you got intelligence that I can work with. I really can. I'm like, ooh. When I talk to certain women and they got the mind, I'm like, ooh, baby, you talking, ooh. But that's where she gonna like that because she values the mind. She values the mind. So what she values, if I have that, she wants to buy me. I don't have to even struggle because she values what I have. It is the mind. It's intelligence. I was speaking to a girl yesterday. I was like, I can't lie to you. I like deep conversations. If you ain't got it, I just don't have to be around there. Like I can play around and I can be, lightheartedly, but I won't be satisfied. You know what I mean? But I like deep conversations. And you find that there are other. Do you know why people watch this YouTube? Because they like deep conversations too. We're here for an hour and a bit talking some deep stuff. The reason why we have 274 people in the room is because they like that as well. That's how it works. You become visible because you have something that they actually want to buy. Some of you don't have anything that people want to buy, and that's the reality of life. You have to upgrade. You have to upgrade. And sometimes you need to be able to present what you have so the person can even see it. Sometimes you need to be able to present it, what you have, to be able to see it. Right? So there's a lot of components with that, so that's another situation, so that's also it, and my final point on this part, why men are angry, is because we're now starting to see the game, and the game has got to a point where, like I said, women are getting a leg up. They're also getting a system helping them as well now, right? You can get female-only grants, black women-only grants, and stuff like that. And they are growing in that aspect because also the system is starting to help them as well now, right? I mean, before that, it's women doing what they're doing, but I'm saying they also get a little bit of help now from the system. And as men, you're starting to see, wait, what? How are they going to get no help? And you're already frustrated with the fact that you've seen them go past you, and now you're seeing them getting the upgrades to. Oh, so you're getting angry, right? You getting frustrated, you getting hurt, you getting envious, you getting mad at the situation. I get it. I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. What we gonna do about it? Because I can't sit here and complain forever. So what we gonna do about it? How we gonna grow? How we gonna maneuver? How do I change me? How do I make sure that I personally am the person is going to make sure that I'm gonna defeat this level, right? So that's the reality of the situation. You got to work with what you got to work with, man. Right? So it'd be like that. Okay. So we don't have to be angry at these people, at women, for the fact that they're steaming ahead. We need to actually just say to myself, I ain't getting the same bike you want. In fact, let me ask you how you did it. Right? Now, let me talk about something even more problematic. And this one's gonna hit hard because I know some people are not gonna like it. And again, I will balance it a little bit, but I want to be very real with this part, right? I want to be very real. It's gonna be a problem. And I know some guys probably will say it's not true. That's not how we think. But let me tell you something. This is how you think. As men, let me first start this one. I was on a train. Okay, and while I was on the train, I was sitting, and it was really busy. The train. I sat on a four-seater. The part where I was sitting was a four-seater. There's a white woman opposite me, and I was opposite her, and I had my bag on the seat. She had her bag on the seat. Yeah. As we're sitting, I sat with my legs open. Yeah. I sat with my legs open, but she sat with her legs crossed like this. Okay. And as soon as she did that, right, as people are coming, as it's getting busy, people are coming past, and then one guy sits right next to her. And I looked at it and I asked the question, why did he sit next to her but not next to me? Well, number one, my position was slightly different to hers because I sat on the outside. She sat on the inside. And I realized instantly she didn't even realize that she was trying to make herself small, whereas I trying to make myself big. That is what I'm born with. As a man, you're built to take up space. It's what you're born to do. You understand what I'm saying to you? Right? You're supposed to be larger than life. That is, you are a man. When I say larger than life, does not mean that you can't, you're trying to eclipse everybody. What I mean is you take up space physically. You're meant to take up space. That's what you're built for. You see what I'm saying to you, right? You do take up space, but it's also about also instigating boundaries. So what I didn't even realize it was happening. And I saw that, and as men, we don't give a heck because we're going to sit next to you. Look, men will do it. Me personally, I don't be doing that. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to sit on my own. So, you know what I mean? But I watched it and I said, why is it that men will take up that space, right? Why would a man take up space? Why would I man spread? Okay, why would I man spread, right? Because I'm actually sending a signal to other people that this is my space. I am born into privilege and I'm born into a level of entitlement. We're born into a space where as men, we are told indirectly we're supposed to be better than women. I know. It's so tough, you know? When I say better than women, what I mean by that is we are the providers. Okay? I'm supposed to be better than you at providing. And men grow up this way because we were told our value is in our provision. Our value is in our creation. Our value is in building. There's no lie to, I'm not gonna try and ask that to change. I'm not trying to change that. That is the game. The game is when you are born, you are said straight. Your value in life is going to be what you can build, what you can create, and what you can provide. It's in the giving. It's called the masculine energy. What you can give, what you can create, what you can build, right? That is what you are going to be tasked as a value. What happens when a woman can do what you can do? You get angry. You get frustrated. You become resentful. Not all men. I'm not saying it's all men. I'm just giving this a general principle. Not all men. Okay? Not all men. Right? What happens is frustration kicks in because you started spreading your legs in the seating area rather than crossing your legs. I'm not telling you to cross your legs, by the way. I'm not telling you to not take up space. Hear me out very clearly. I'm not asking women not to take up space. I'm giving what's happening. Now, you start mushing your leg against my leg. Yeah? I'm feeling pressure. Right? I'm feeling pressure. Okay? I'm feeling big boy pressure. So now there's pressure on my leg. I'm like, and now you're trying to take up more space. I'm getting frustrated. In fact, now you've said to yourself, you've even spread your legs further than I've spread my legs. You said, Jack, we're the same now. Here's what it is. Yeah? It is what it is. I'm here as well. Right? And the frustration is when she does it, when a woman does it better in that position that you've always been told that you're good at, there is going to be a level of frustration. There's always going to be a level of frustration because you were taught from young. I was taught from young. We're indoctrinated from young. We were told from young. We were given all the messages from young. That's your area that you're supposed to excel at. So what happens when someone else excels in that area? And I heard Tony Gaskin speak about this, and I thought it was a really good message when he said about, with women, women have this situation, similar to this situation, is almost like racism in some sense. And I actually understand what he meant because I've been saying it for a long time that a lot of sexism is just like racism. Ain't no difference, right? Understanding that someone doesn't like the fact that you can do what they do but better, and they're angry at it. Rather than leveling up, they get angry at it, and they try to change you and constrict you rather than increasing and upgrading themselves. Right? So now you get frustrated. Right? Now you get frustrated because you've been told you always were better at that role, but now you realize that ain't true. You've been lied to. You're not angry at her, you're angry at the fact that they've lied to you. That's what you're angry at. That's not what you're angry at, right? That's not what you're angry. You're angry at you. And you're angry at the fact that someone lied to you and told you that you were better at something without actually any evidence being placed there. But now, when you go to do it, you're not better than them. You see what I'm saying to you? Right? That's the frustration part. That's where some people are. Not all. That's where some people are. Okay? Entitlement has made us less hungry, and thus we're getting beat. Right? We're getting beat. I've said this. You guys know this. I've said this all the time as well, man. I said this all the time. We're getting angry because we're getting beat because we're not hungry anymore. Or, sorry, wrong wording. We're not as hungry as our counterpart. We're not as hungry as a woman. The women in bigger groves are hungry. Right? The women now are hungry, and we need to be as hungry as them. But because we were entitled to our position, we got lackadaisical. And again, it's not all men, just in general. Right? You see what I'm saying to you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just saying that, that part there, entitlement, it's men that's not hungry and thus we get bested. When you're not as hungry, you will get bested. You ever seen a fighter that gets lackadaisical and gets entitled to thinking he can win fights? He gets bested, right? Okay. Listen, the truth of the matter is, we're in a good place. We're gonna be. We can be in a better place. Let me tell you why we're in a good place. And it's been one of the hardest things because obviously I've been indoctrinated in such a way, right? I'll tell you why we're in a good place. We're in a good place because finally we've given women the opportunity to take the shackles off and go at full speed. I'm gonna be better for it. Hear what I'm saying to you. Yeah. Finally, we've taken the shackles off their feet and their hands, and they're gonna go full speed, and I'm gonna be better for it. I'll tell you why. Because we like competition, man. Them. Ain't that the truth? We like competition. Ain't that the truth? Some of you are tapping out, but you like the competition. And this is where the flip edge of the sword is. Your entitlement and your ego as a man will not allow her to win. You're going to want to beat her. That's all. You're going to want to strive even harder. You're going to want to even do more. You're going to want to even do even better. You want to, you know what I mean? Right? So we needed women to come out of that space to see where we can actually really get. Once we get to that place, I'm not gonna say it's gonna reset, but I'm gonna say we're gonna actually see what you really are now, right? We're gonna see what you really are and what you're really about. How do we then work around those issues now? How are we gonna really work it for both parties now? If we're both firing on all cylinders, how are we gonna work it and how are we gonna work it to work together? Right? How are we gonna work it together? Yeah. So, and the reality of the situation is, as Black women excel, the community actually grows. You know what I mean? The community grows. I meant that in a facetious way, Lulu. I meant that in almost, it's not a good thing, but there's some goodness that I can take from it, a silver lining. You know what I mean? But you don't want to be behind. I don't want to be behind. I don't necessarily want to compete with women. Okay, let me make it very clear so I don't misalign and say what I meant. What I mean by compete is I don't want to see you above me. I want to be the best that I can be. Of course, I want to compete with other men, But what I'm saying to you in the sense of is that as you are extending, that means the standards are actually growing. I have to compete. I have to get better. I have to grow. If your level has changed, I cannot enter your sphere. Do you see what I'm saying to you? That's what I mean. I apologize. I want to make it very clear. That's all. So I don't want anyone to misinterpret. Okay. I don't want to misinterpret what we're saying. I'm saying if you elevate the standards, I need to grow. I'm competitive by nature. I need to grow. I need to meet that standard. So if you're telling me you need to make this amount of money, I need this type of man, I need this because I can do these things for myself. Yes, clearly. Then I need to what? Match. You know what I mean? That's what I meant by that. So I apologize. I wasn't trying to make it. You're absolutely right. I don't want to be competing with women necessarily. So thank you for helping me clear that up. You know? Thank you for helping me clear that up. Yeah. Absolutely true, Mr. 007. Absolutely true. Yep. The median annual earnings for full-time year-round workers in the United States as follows: black men 45,000, women 40,000. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's not a lie. You've told the truth, bro. So, like I said earlier on, black men are still killing it. I said at the very beginning, black men are still killing it. This was not about saying black men are not killing it. They're still killing it. And I said that in the very beginning. They're still killing it. Right? Yeah. Sometimes you need a little bit of motivation, though. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you need a bit of motivation. Okay. All right. Sometimes you need more motivation. Sometimes you need a hair to go ahead of you so you can start running. All right. So, yes, that's also part of it as well. Okay. All right. But yeah, someone asked a question earlier on about pricing yourself out of the market. Okay. And I said this earlier on. I don't want to go too long because I've gone an hour and 27 minutes. I don't want to go too long. But do you think men are pricing themselves out the market by refusing to date single mothers and not wanting to date women over 30 post-war? I don't know. I don't know if I can say that. I don't know if I can say that per se. Ta. I would say that you're going to get priced out the market because if more women earn more money. Right. So yes, that's what I said to you. Like, as women price themselves at the market, so do the men. Because if you don't catch up, I'm outside the market too. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Yeah. If you are outside of the market as a woman financially, then I'm also outside of the market too. If I don't meet if I don't meet that median, yeah, that's the truth. So what I'm saying is that listen, life is a game. Don't tap out. All right, don't tap out. That's what I'm saying. Do not tap out of the game. Yeah, do not tap out the game. There's no need to. You just need to understand how the game works and win. Simple as. Understand how the game works, create strategies, and win. Simple as. Yeah, that's it. Be like that. All right, cool. Well, 1 hour 30. I got about 30 minutes left, guys. Any questions? Any questions? Oh, sorry, I should say even. Let me put the link in the chat for some people to. I know some people have been chatting a lot. A lot of discourse has gone on in the chat. Would love to hear your thoughts and for you to call in and say your piece. Put it in the chat there. So if you want to say your piece, by all means, we want to hear your voice, hear your thoughts. Click on that link and join us in the conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts and what you think. Yeah. It's important. Yeah. Let's go to them, baby. All right. Let me put this. Let me. There we go. Let me pin this code. Put it coming up. Behave. There we go. Oh my god. I retracted my own statement. Oh my gosh. Here you go. Hold on. Call in. There we go. All right, cool. There you go. I've pinned it for you guys. Well, all right. So you can now join. If you have something to say, by all means. La vida. Are you listening to other white men center space? Would you ever interview any of them for your male interviews? Absolutely, I would love to, man. Listen, they're having the same issue we're having. I can't lie to you. It's a man issue across the board, but we have a much more bigger. I don't say bigger fight. We have a different fight because we only see ourselves, but they're having the same issue. Literally, you know what I mean? Women across the board are growing quickly, but we have a very different issue because as men, we're near the bottom of the totem pole financially. So the issue becomes so much more different, you know. But and we don't have necessarily power in our society at the moment. But look, they're having an issue the same across the board, man. You know. Yeah. Yes, Sam. Oh wait, you muted, bro.
Sorry about that. You're right. Can you hear me properly?
Oh man, huh? You're good, bro. Talk to me,
Yeah,
bro.
man. I literally just came in. I heard of a little bit of discussion, but just going off the title, as I said in the chat, I genuinely believe the betterment of black men will benefit black women a lot. I feel there's a lot of things that black men need to fix, a lot of things that black need to hold themselves accountable. Once we start doing that and working towards us being better for ourselves, then we can actually help the community, because broken things can't fix anything. Do you get what I'm saying? Also on the competition point, personally, I don't see any competition between me or black women, more of to a point where every time I see a black woman doing well, she's winning. That actually puts a smile on my face.
Come on.
But in a sense, it puts a little inspiration for me to even better myself and do well, so I can bless other people around in the community as well. So it's all about, for me, I've always said this, I'm always about the just for black men to elevate themselves. So once black men elevate themselves, it will be better for the community, and that through that, women will also benefit a large deal from that. But yeah, that was my little point there.
No, bro, you're absolutely right, man. And you know, I always say this. You know, it's been women who have always helped me, you know, open doors, bro. when I got my wealth management job, it wasn't a man. In fact, it was even a white woman, not even a black woman. It was a white woman. Who actually helped me. He's a good friend of mine from time back. You know, when I used to work in McDonald's. So, you know what I mean? Like, women have always helped me. This is what I'm saying. Like, if you learn how to cooperate with women, you will have so many doors open for you, because women are oftentimes far more considerate, I would like to say, you know, when they think about things. There's the amount of weddings I've had, people just hit me up like, yo, I got a wedding, coach, would you do it for this person? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that men haven't done that, but I'm saying if I look at it, most women have done it for me personally and open up doors and done that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, for me personally, it's all about cooperation and co-opting with them rather than trying to fight them. Shoot, my blessings is in you. So I'm not gonna fight you. You know what I mean? I want to see you win. And then if that means I'm priced out the market, I'm gonna have to work a little bit harder then. You know, I'm invigorated. If you tell me you don't make the financial mark, all right, cool. All right, then I have to obviously I need to work a little bit harder. That's how I see life. It's like I'm not trying to see it as I want to die. I want to see it as, well, if that's the case, what do I have to do to make sure that I can hit that standard that somebody said it is in all fronts? You know what I mean? Go for it, bro.
100%, 100%. As you said, there's a lot of women that help me, and when I look around, especially with black men, I say that to myself, like, we could do so much more. Like the way black women open doors for black men, and we don't see it. It's mad. But I see it. I look around and I see black men, and it's just like we can do so much more for like little black boys, little black girls, even our black women. Like we've got the power is there. We just misused it a lot of the time. And obviously, I'm speaking generally, not individually, but I'm speaking generally.
You ain't telling no lies, bro. You ain't telling no lies. Lulu, talk to me. Oh, you got to unmute, sis. There you go. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I muted you again. Go for it.
Hi. Good morning.
Hello.
I was just thinking about this the other day, but from a more evolutionary perspective, bringing science into it. I do think as a species, and I can only really talk from an American standpoint, because I do think that does make a difference. Like us as African Americans with our own 400 history of plight. I think from an evolutionary perspective, African American Black women, unfortunately, have out-evolved our counterpart due to the way we've been socialized over all those years through slavery, separated from our men, all those things. Our male counterparts are more like their white male counterparts. And, they may not be on the same level socially and economically, but they want the same things. They're driven by the same male drive. But us as Black women have unfortunately been socialized in the same way as our men to need finance and want to make it, like just to survive, like to be strong and to survive. And that's kind of lost some of our femininity. So when our men make it, finally, they can't look around and find a feminine woman on their level, because their Black female counterparts have had to strive, drive, and be strong just like them. So unfortunately, we've out-evolved our partners and we're dying out.
That's an interesting perspective, Okay, I like that. Interesting. Kath, go for it. I like that perspective.
I like that perspective too. Hi everyone. So I, based on what you were saying earlier, one of the things that came to mind, I actually had this experience with a young man I was talking to, who was raised in a home with a mom who worked all the time. His father was not involved at all. And I found he's a good guy, but don't know how to really connect and sustain a relationship. And one of the questions I asked him was, who was your male role model since his father was absent? And what I started to learn from my interaction with him, I think men don't know how to really support and love that Black woman because they didn't see their mother receive that love and support. The mother was constantly working, doing everything, supporting that Black young man. Now that Black man grows up expecting the same, the Black woman, to work hard, to do everything. And they don't really know how to love and support because he don't have that example. But if that man have an example of a man who shows that young boy how to support a woman and be there to be loving, whether it's their father or not, I think that helps them build a relationship with that Black woman, if that makes sense. So I just feel like it starts from the beginning. Like, what is that? And I think the same thing goes for a woman who is raised by a single mom, and they see their mother work hard. They see their mother do everything. They learn that same behavior, and they learn, and they also observe their mother do it without a man. So that makes them more stronger and less. They're not going to tolerate a man who's come to the table looking for us to support them.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective. I think that, and I just think that, it's just, I think before stepping into a relationship for both man and woman, we really got to take a deep dive within ourselves and see the things that we need to work on, and don't make it someone else's problem. Like I tell people, that's your problem. That's a you problem. That's a me problem, and we have to work on it. We can't expect the other person to be that coach or that person, but we can support them, while we do the work, and be patient. If that's the
Mm,
person you want to work with, if you don't want to work with it, then don't work with it. Just leave it alone. That's it.
I hear that.
Sorry,
No, I
Claudia,
hear
can I
that.
just say something? I need to clear up something because
Mm,
somebody in the comments just misstrued everything that I said. um this is towards pumpkin spice. I never said that black women have to carry black men on the back. When I made the comment of black women have been opening doors for black men, it's because black men have not been taking their responsibility. My whole point is that as black men, we need to be taking our responsibility and holding ourselves accountable where we have gone wrong. So black women don't have to be carrying us on our backs. That we can actually be helping each other in unity with each other. So the betterment of the black community. So no, and I never said that. I just said that from what it is right now, black women have been opening doors for black. I can't lie and say that. I could easily said, oh, black women have been doing nothing for black men. That's a lie. Black women have. So I was just stating the fact of that.
appreciate that. Yeah, go for
Hey,
it.
well, the person who said evolution science, if you want to say we've evolved to be masculine, can it be that men have atrophied to be feminine or less masculine? Because things work both
Yep.
ways. So you can't say we've developed muscles because that's what happens when you get in the gym and you work those muscles you develop. But when you don't work them, they atrophy and disappear. So the same way we're going to say about the women, if
Mm,
that's the stance you're going to take, then you have to do the converse, inverse, or whatever it is. But if it makes me masculine, because the last time I walked into a bank, I saw white women working. The last time I walked into Walmart, I saw white women working. That is just something you have to do. And if me being able to say I could buy my own steak or buy food until we marry, because people aren't married until over 35, bothers you, because those are skill sets we have to live in the modern world. Girls go to college, and even if they don't go to college, what they supposed to hang in mama house to somebody come and pick them up out the window, like who was that doggy in the window?
mm.
To maintain this, those are adulting things that has nothing to do with masculinity and femininity. And if it bothers somebody, maybe they masculinity muscles have atrophied and they need to do the work. And that's just how I see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like I said, I can see that you have to do both sides, so I'm not going to be against that at all. What I would say though is, I think we're talking about and I think we're talking about a more specific issue too. And I say more specific in terms of, if you are forced to work to eat, naturally you have to become more masculine because you're forced to work to eat. It's different to I choose to work. I choose to work, and this is both men and women, by the way. The moment you don't have a choice to work, you will become more masculine, because inherently you don't have a choice. You have to fend, you have to fight, you have to defend. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do all those things. So inevitably you become more masculine in some
I
shape or
never
form.
knew that was a thing, because when I go in my garden, I'm liking being out there in my garden growing tomatoes. I don't know if that has anything to do with masculine or feminine. I don't know why we assign it to something, but I like being out in my garden. And most people would actually view that as a feminine thing. Now, if you're talking about farming, but I never thought growing stuff, because that is part of women. That is part of nurturing. We might get
Mhm.
our nails dirty with you come and you clean with your green stick, but I don't know how that has been assigned to be masculine.
But do you have to work though? So if
I
you're in a
don't know
garden
too many people that don't have to work. When the
so
thing
that's the
hits,
point. It's not. It's
everybody
not.
has to work.
It's not an indictment against women. It's more of a case of the reality of life, which is, if you have to work to eat, if that becomes your prerogative where you have to work to eat, then inevitably you get into the rat race. The rat race, which involves an aspect of fighting. It's when you and I gave more of an example, like more, let's say, corporate, both UK, America. If you go to corporate aspects, you don't physically fight people, but you fight in, right? You physically are fighting, right? Because you're fight, and that's what I'm saying. Like that inevitably brings out parts of masculine behavior, right, or masculine energy in some shit. Not that you have. If you didn't have to be there, you're gonna be cool. You don't have to be there. You want to be there, right? And you can have that choice. So you may pick up certain traits, but you also gonna have that reality of that I can relax. You can't, and this is both men and women, by the way. You can't relax when your actual day in, day out is dependent upon the fact that you're working or not. If you don't work, you don't eat. It makes someone have a different kind of mindset. And I wouldn't even say necessarily positive all the time. I just say that begins to bring that energy. And I'm not saying women shouldn't work. Please, that is not the message I'm saying, that women should not work. I'm more saying that if we were to give the perfect example would be not for all women, because some women I believe that are exceptions, and some women really want to work and strive hard. They are gifted in that way, and that's just them. But I think the perfect example of a perfect relationship, how it would really want to work, is that man works and the woman chooses if she wants to work or not, and she can flex in or flex out whenever she wanted. Then she have the luxury of doing that. I believe that's in majority of cases, that's the perfect example where she's able to say, I want to work today. Maybe I want to work for 2-3 months, and then I'm just going to quit if I want to quit, and I can focus on my home life, right? And that's just probably the way I'm looking at it in terms of if it's a perfect example, not necessarily it has to be that way, but it's a perfect example. And I go back to the fact that biblically, the curse was given to man to work. It was given for women to bear children, that her pain will come through, not from her sweat in the ground. So I'm not saying women can't work, not that they shouldn't work. I'm saying that a perfect example would have been, in most cases, as a woman, if you didn't have to work, that's different. If you don't choose to work, then you have a choice. I don't choose to work. I ain't got a choice. I gotta eat. You know what I mean? I gotta eat. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying in that sense. I'm not saying that women can't work and they shouldn't work. I'm saying that it does involve a little bit of masculine energy when you have to enter that space where you ain't got a choice. It makes you have to defend yourself. And it also makes pride come in. This is why as men, we also have this level of pride, because once you start making your money, you have this freedom. And the way that you move, like no one can tell me nothing. You know what I mean? I make my own money. I eat my own bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like you said, that's someone else said about we can now buy our own food and our own meat and whatever. You're absolutely right, you can. And that's what it is. So I'm not saying that women shouldn't work. I'm not saying that women can't work. I'm just kind of giving them more. If it was a perfect example, if it was a perfect life that we could live, you'd be able to choose and say, I would want to work if I can work. If I don't have to work, I don't have to work. And I can focus on my family and focus on this or focus on that. And if I wanted to work, fine. You know what I mean? You have a choice. Yeah, so that's what I would say. You know, I don't know if you want to respond to that, Koja, just because you might have a different opinion.
I would love to have the option of saying, hey, maybe I don't have to work 5 days a week. Maybe I go to work, and when I'm tired of this, I'm like, deuces, I'm out. That is a whole different level. You know, like, I ain't got to put up with this today. Oh, what you say? You say I can't have no time off? I'm just showing you I'm taking all the time off I'm going to want. Bye. That's different. I can hear that. But the nature of people today, me as a woman, I just don't have that level of trust, because even when you go back and you look at the dominant or the majority, they will take them feelings out them women's teeth when it comes time to discard them and get a new model. So I just don't know women who are willing to take that back. I have not seen an example to me that I'm willing to take that gamble. But, you know, to each their own. But work don't always have to be that. Some jobs we take because we have to eat, and then we're supposed to learn to transition them into jobs we take because we actually enjoy it. And that may, you know, require us to get some new skill sets or whatever. But you don't have to stay in a place that you're miserable. You can go and get other things. And I'm in here doing this 4th of July sale, trying to get me some stuff so I can get in my garden. So I'm going to tap out. I just want to say it goes both ways when we're having this discussion about women becoming masculine or whatever. You still have to have the discussion about men, but atrophy and becoming less masculine or feminine, or however you want to say it. But I'm in the clouds. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Koja, as well. And you know, I just thank you, babe. And just to add as well, I think what's really important is it's not only the work situation. I think Koja just kind of hit it on the head as well too, which is if you can't trust a man, this also makes you very defensive, which means also more masculine is being put in there because you have to defend yourself all the time. That's a we issue. I'm gonna say it's a we issue. We have to work on it with each other. But if you're always on the defensive thinking, can I trust a man? That also actually upends more of the masculinity. You're never relaxed. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So so that again further enhances that masculine energy. When I say masculine, I'm talking more about the defensive energy, not necessarily that you are talk to men like this. No. I'm talking more in terms of it creates more defensive energy in a woman, rather than actually it being able to be in her relaxed state as well. So that's what I'm kind of saying. So not saying that you shouldn't work again. I want to make it very clear. You can work, ladies. You should, if you want to work, go work, baby. I'm just saying that kind of relaxed state in a sense also helps as well, in a perfect ideal scenario, as well. But I'm always happy to be checked on that as well, as well. Yes, Lulu, go for it.
I wanted to clear up because I know using the word masculine is, it's one of those buzzwords I didn't choose, but it's been socialized. It's just been socialized that way, that we do more of the same things as our male counterparts. So it's not necessarily, we're not trying to have masculine energy, and it shouldn't even be read as masculine energy because we're still feminine, we're still mothers, we're nurturers. We've just evolved differently than the other females that they see. So they see other females that still get to be weaker vessels. We are a more strengthened, more evolved female, and that looks like an entirely different species than the other women that they see. So when they look at us, they see something that looks more like themselves, and because they're men, they say, oh, this looks like me, and it must be masculine. I didn't choose those words. That's just the words. But we're socialized to have more of the same characteristics as men or stronger beings because we've been through hardships and we've been put out there to work. So that's when I say socialized to be more masculine, that's what I mean. Like, just like when anything else, any other kind of animal gets crossed with other things and put in other situations, or a plant gets crossed with other things and put in other situations, it adapts. We've adapted, and we've adapted more male characteristics, and that's just what we needed to survive. So it's not bad for us, but it is bad for our male counterparts who haven't been able to evolve to catch up. And it's bad for us in a sense that if we don't do something, we'll die down. And I've seen Enigma talking about, and I tell all of my friends, date out just for the experience. You need to date out because you need to know how to be treated right if you can't find a Black man that's willing to do it. However, when we date out and we marry out, now we're creating a different species. What you're making isn't a Black person. You're making a hybrid. I'm a hybrid, actually. So I can't be all light skinned on that, soapbox. However, what you're creating then is a hybrid. You're not creating the same as you are. So even then, you're dying out and you're watering down what's supposed to be the pure Blackness, pure excellence, all those things that we strive to continue to be.
It's a real truth. I'm hearing you, Lulu. Okay. I'm hearing you. Sam, do you have anything to add to that?
No, it was mostly being said. I think the area of work where at the moment that women have to, it's because of the fact that men haven't been there in the household. So obviously when you have to work now and you have to put the element of surviving, putting bread on the table, you naturally build up walls for yourself because somebody hasn't been there to help. You've been relying on yourself instead of someone there as a companion. Actually, you can take the load off, really and truly. So you naturally bring up walls, which is it's difficult to break down because that has the element of trust, the element of you trust in somebody else. But yeah, that's in the position of men and generally men not being in the household to actually take the load and take a responsibility from what women are doing, which they're not supposed to be doing, which is both jobs.
And I think you just touched on something really powerful there, Sam. What that looks like is, so if you are going to be working and you have to work or whatever, I think what needs to be happening is what I call sharing the load. You know what I mean? I can't expect you to cook, clean, look after kids, and be working at the same time, and then me just doing the providing role, right? And then not feeding you emotionally and mentally and spiritually, and not helping you around the house. And I think that's often whenever I hear the word 50-50, especially in the American audience, one of the first responses is, but y'all don't help around the house, which is one of the things that gets people stressed and it gets people tense. And then you get people who are defensive and you get people who are attacking prematurely in situations because they are stressed. So there needs to be that aspect of teamwork. So as a man, I'm saying that where I can say to anyone to be accountable is that you want to make sure you help your partner as much as possible and vice versa, right? I want to make sure I can take as much load off you and you take as much load of me. And now how that looks might be slightly different. I may just need words of encouragement. I might need some soothing words. I might need some massages on my shoulders, okay? Because the shoulders hurt them, maybe whatever, right? I may need a meal, but you may need me to help around the house. You may need me to today say, babe, listen, you relax. Let me get these dishes, man. I got you. Like, don't worry about that. Or, babe, look, you go to bed early tonight or go out with your friends, whatever. I'm going to keep the kids today. You know what I mean? Right? And just those simple little things. And I think a lot of times, and I'm saying this from a male perspective, why it can be so difficult to understand where women are coming from in these instances is because first of all, if you're not a firstborn, you probably never experienced this. Number two, if you're somebody also too, you don't grow up in a particular culture where you're expected to take on responsibility for other people. You also are ignorant of that particular aspect. So I think those things play a role because, especially if you come from, let's say, our UK, African, Caribbean backgrounds, and especially I want to say, but even African, I know for sure. You as a man, if you're firstborn, and I'm talking about UK usually, you're kind of tasked with some responsibility. Like, yo, bro, you gotta look after your sisters, you know what I mean? Like, they expect you to be educated, expect you to go and achieve high and do this stuff. There are expectations and there are responsibilities that come with that as well. That comes with your leadership role. And not everyone gets it right all the time because sometimes it's authoritarian, but you are tasked with that responsibility. And I think that as an individual, you've got to have a level of balance when it comes to your relationship. And you have to be sensitive to what your partner is. And I think that's the only part I would say that we can work on a lot is the maintenance of a relationship. We often talk about getting and having, but what is the maintenance of that relationship? What does it entail, for you to be able to maintain that relationship? Same way if you had a car, what I need to do to make sure its upkeep is intact and make sure the car can still run after 10 years or 5 years, whatever. There are things you have to do in between that time. It's the same with relationships. We have to be able to work together to say, okay, babe, do you know what? I can see you're tired, like, and I might be tired too, but I can see that, babe, go and rest up. Like, and that's where sometimes sacrifice as a man, where it will seem quote unquote unfair, but it's the reality of your role as a man. Yeah, sometimes I've got to take some level of sacrifice. It doesn't mean always, but it just means sometimes go look at that, babe's tired. All right, babe, you go rest. I got this. You know what I mean? I'm going to handle it. I'm going to do what I need to do. And you get a different type of woman when you're in that space. When you've got a good woman, by the way, you get a different type of woman when you have that kind of mindset about we in this together. And I'm willing to take care of you the same way you wouldn't take care of me. I think there's a difference in that. You know what I mean? That's why they're not on these channels.
No, 100%, 100%. Like as you said, you elaborated my point very well. Where I had a very good upbringing, seeing my dad actually Sorry, am I cutting out?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. Seeing how my dad treated my mom, showing that, because there's a lot of there's a lot of fathers that they say that they do their job, they provide for the family, but they're never there. How many kids have grown up and said, "Oh, my dad was never there," or even my mom was never there because she was always working? How many times have they people have said that? And as a man, just seeing that, okay, yes, I'm providing, I'm doing the things that I need to be doing, but also helping around the house. Okay, that this Saturday I will just take the time to actually clean the house and just help my wife clean the house. All right, let me just drop the kids to my mom's and my dad's, and we can go out for a date night. Oh, let me take the kids to school. Maybe twice a week, three times a week, just so that my wife is not overwhelmed. Or maybe, do you know what? Instead of you cooking, let's just go for a takeout. Let's treat the family to a takeout. So the load is lessened on you, because yes, as men we do have to sacrifice a lot. And if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, we do have to sacrifice a lot. But housework is not easy.
What?
It's not easy
Bro.
at all. It's not easy. Taking care of kids is not that is a lifelong thing. So men, you need to also help out on that part as well. And trust, as you said, you will see a different kind of woman, a nurturing woman that will see you taking the lead in these things, and you will have a happy household.
You touched on the real thing, bro. Go for it, Kathy.
Yeah, I will agree with both of you. I grew up with both my parents. They did get divorced, but that foundation was the best. My father cooked. He had his own business. My mother was a teacher. He supported her to go back to school. He was a very good cleaner. He loved to clean. He made sure everything was waxed. Like, but my mother also helped out, did things in the house. We own a house in New York. They both worked as a team. I witnessed that. And for me, that's what I look at in a man, is a man, because I know it can happen. I know that a man can be supportive, be nurturing just as the woman is, and they can support and y'all can build together. And besides seeing my father, most of the men in my family, and I am also from the Caribbean, we're from Antigua. And a lot of the men, they know how to sew, they know how to clean, they know how to do all the things that a woman do. And what I always see with my uncles, they all help their women. They have long lasting marriages because they are a team. Even when it's rough, they still love on each other. And men, Caribbean men, they still do their things outside the home, but they still come back to home and they take care of the home. And I expect that from that man. But it's hard to find that, because what I do find, I have found men who are just like my father, but they did not grow up with a father. So they're pretending to be in this role. And it doesn't last long because they're only doing it to catch your attention because they know what you want. And they do it. And then once they get you, they go back to who they really are. And I can't stay in that situation because I am a workaholic. I need balance. I need someone who will support me. I'm going to support them. I know how to do it because, like I said, I saw my mother do it. I saw my mother support my father as well. So I know how to really be that supportive woman, but I also look for that supportive man, and we can do it together.
No, absolutely right, man. And I think we're etching on a good part of the conversation, because this is the maintenance aspect of the mindset of what we need to be having. The difficulty of this mindset is that people are fearful, and that's why I mentioned in the very beginning about game theory. That when I don't know your intentions, I'm already trying to assume what your intentions are, which is to try and beat me. That's game theory. Is the assumption that someone else trying to beat you, rather than thinking, actually, if we both try to work together here, maybe we can actually win together. And that's where we're missing each other in this generation. The fear of each other. And I think for as an individual, as an individual person who I've looked after babies. I've had to be relied upon for about a year or two cooking. I'm telling you, that was stressful. I can't lie to you. The cooking one is crazy, absolutely brazy. Yeah, when you're having to not when you want to cook, you're forced to cook for everybody. It's a stress to think about what meal I have to cook that day. Like when I remember I was getting home from school and I'll be like, I don't know what we're gonna eat today. Then my mom had to come up with a rota, and that was still stressful anyway because I'm like, I have to make sure the ingredients are there. I have to make sure if we run out, then I got to tell mom get the ingredients. And look, I don't remember why we had to be that role, but all I remember is I never want to be that role again. I don't want to be that role again. So, I think when you realize the amount of energy and work it takes to be in that position. My dad also cooked, but he didn't cook. He probably cooked like 5% of the time. But he was a chef. When I say chef, he wasn't working as a chef, but he did chefery for a little while. His food, bangs. Like it don't make sense. And I used to look at him like, your food bangs. He said, that's why I married your mom, though. I'm like, bro, your food is the one that's like my mom's food is good, but his food just be. You can tell that someone has done some chefery work, blood. But the way he even chops the onions and the tomatoes and the way he prepares things and the way he does, I'm like, you are the better chef. I don't understand why you ain't using it. That's why I married your mom, he says, But again, it's about being able to again work with. I think it's about understanding that team and how that team best operates, and in what way does it work. Some people it won't be that you can always help run the house. Some might have, you know what, I'm the full provider and I do something else. But either way, I think we just got to be able to, pay attention to what our partner kind of needs. And that's both men and women in terms of what our actual needs are. But I would take this for anybody for free: cooking, babies, and cleaning. You will lose weight, because I cleaned my house just the other day. I did the kitchen and the bathroom. I was mopping and I said, my back's hurting, bruv. I had to take a break after the first mop. I said, let me just take a break. My back's hurting. You know what I mean? Then I come into the living room. I had to spray up thing down and do everything, clean everything. My back was hurting again. I said, bro, let me take another break. You know what I mean? Bro, something that should have taken maybe 3 hours took me almost 5, because, fam, it was just, I did the washing. I took the washing downstairs, put it into the wash. I had to do a few different loads. Then I got to hang it. Then I got to think to myself, wait, are they going to dry in time? Oh, I got to space it out. No, family, let me tell you something. Y'all don't know. Listen, I don't want to ever hear a man say that, you know what, working is harder than if you do a hard day shift at home, you gonna know what hard work is. I'm not saying it's easier either way. I'm saying both of us have to be cognizant that we are both going to work hard in our respective areas. And I respect the fact that, you know what, changing nappies, doing bottles of food and feeding, being alert and wondering where the kid is when he's crawling forward or backwards or whatever, or walking and trying to go down the stairs and potentially hurt himself. I got to be cognizant that that takes a lot of effort and energy and concentration, as well as me going to work and earning the money that I earn. I want to be cognizant of the fact that that's what you're going through too. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think that's the thing. Lulu, I haven't heard from you in a little while. Go for it, Lulu.
Sorry, I'm in here cooking breakfast at the same time you're having this conversation. But this also goes back to, I hate to sound like a broken record, but this goes right back to the evolution thing. I think there are Black men that's not willing to evolve and look around at the times and go, wait, people just are not the same anymore. Like I have arguments with my friends all the time about, I know white housewives and their husbands come home and contribute, but a Black man makes $10 and he want to sit here and argue with you about how he shouldn't have to come home and do anything. That's just not how life works. We've evolved past that point. So you're not a caveman anymore. You don't get to just clobber something over the head and drag it home and tell me to cook it. Now you have to contribute. You have to be an active member of the home as well as society. You have to walk and chew gum now. So I think that there's those people that are not willing to catch up to the time, because the time is, okay, we putting on pants and we're going out to work too. So we both do have to do some kind of housework. We both have to do some kind of contributing. However, yeah, it doesn't have to be I wear the pants. I can wear pants too. Let's try that on for size, shall we? Let's not just jump to one extreme or the other. Like we have to get to this like equilibrium of what the times actually are. Not trying to run too far past it, or not trying to stay too far in the past.
I hear you, Lulu. I'm just going to say that I think white men do the exact same thing that Black men do. Can't lie to you. What do you think we're learning from? You think we're doing this alone? The ones that you've seen are both white men. White men are cavemen like us as well.
I think there are outliers in all categories, and then there is what the general populace does. I think Black men and white men, there are people that have evolved in the middle. That's why so many people have stories of their dads cooking and helping. And I think if you went ahead and took a survey, you'll find there's a great population that didn't get to see that because they didn't have men in the home. There's still a population whose dad was a caveman. And then there is somewhere in the middle where there are people that are evolving with the times. And there's that on Black side and there's that on the white side. However, these people that haven't even seen an example of a man who keep wanting to tell you what men do, they're not understanding that we've evolved past caveman times. They're wanting something that they only seen in a 1960 sitcom. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I still disagree, but I hear what you're saying, babe. Oh, that's the team of ambition. I haven't heard from you. Go for it.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No
So,
worries, though.
basically, we live now in a different a time where I do think it's not necessarily 50-50, but we both have to contribute. So if someone has got 30% today and the person has 10%, so I role specifically for a man and a woman in this day and age. However, I would say, like, if a guy wants that responsibility of being I'm the man, I can provide, then let's take out the old relationship out of it. Let's just go for dating. In this generation, the way the men, not all men, not most men, but some men, the way their built is, they want to be treated like the men, but they don't do the toasting. Okay, for example, I can speak for myself. A guy would expect you to drive all the way to the end of the world to see him, or he will expect you to, like, some guys would prefer for you to buy them the concert tickets. It's like we live in a world where it should be both ways. A guy should not be expecting a girl to date him. The guy should be the one doing the dating if we're trying to be all traditional about it. But I feel like the generation we're in right now, it's not the way. Like, it's that's why there's a longer period of talking stages, because a female will want a guy to buck up. Yeah, okay, you're the man, then do what you should do as a man. But in this day and age, it's not the same. I personally think not all men, but some men like to be the one to be chased. They like to be chased, and it's just like, what's going on? But I think in terms of a relationship or a partnership, I don't think that this generation that we live in, especially with the cost of living, it cannot be 50-50, and it cannot be, oh, a man's role is to be the provider, a woman's role is just to be cooking. Like, it needs to be like, maybe some days it's the woman gives 30%, the guy gives 70%. The next day, the guy gives 20%, the girl gives 80%. Whatever you can give, whether it be your mental health, your financial well-being, you give it, because it's a part. Like, we're partners, so we want to pick up. I'll pick up where you lack, and you pick up where I lack. That's what I think, anyway. So.
Absolutely hear you. Thank you very much to you, Mercy. I appreciate that. You know, she said, listen, sometimes it flips and flaps. It does differently. Go for audacity of ambition. Bebe, we can't hear you. Audacity of ambition. We cannot hear you. Are you talking? We cannot hear you, darling. Can't hear you. All right. I think you might have to jump back out and jump back in, audacity of ambition, and then maybe it'll work again, because we can't hear you at all. But no, you know, listen, you know, I think most importantly, I think, you know, we are looking to see how life wants to be how your life wants to be mapped out. And I think, you know, we want to be able to, I personally think, you know, there are different types of relationships. So I don't want to say that everything one way is the best way. Do you know what I mean? There are different types of relationship, but I think individually people should look at what works best for them in terms of relationship. And I also think that there does have to be some level of compromise on both sides. I just think that you're never going to get a relationship where it's going to be all one-sided for one person. It just doesn't make sense. It's a partnership for a reason. I think in reality, we've got to a place where we're saying, listen, look, I want to celebrate you for being how great you are. I want to be celebrated for how great I am as well. I honestly, personally, I don't adhere to every gender role, every stereotype of the gender role, but I definitely adhere to some parts of the gender role. It just is what it is. And I would just say this for any woman too. You do too. You do too. Okay. Our good sister said, I don't need to come and get fetching him. You're absolutely right. Why? Because it's gender roles, right? We have expectations of men and women regardless. And what I'm saying is, but within that, I'm not too rigid to say, well, you cook and I make money. I don't have to be as rigid as that. I can be a little bit more flexible. But there is expectations on both sides that you're expecting from each individual person. That might not necessarily be cooking, but it might be the more nurturing aspect. It might be the fact that I'm more of the provider role. Whichever way it is, there are some aspects that we expect to see in some regards to some level of gender role in some aspect. But you know, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for the fact that we're having these kind of conversations where we're talking about role situations as well going forward and stuff. And you know, it's not easy out here in the streets. Any other words, guys? Any other thoughts before take it off and home.
I
Go for
was
it,
just
son.
going to say in response to what T with Mercy said, I think it's just this day and age, this generation where there's a lot of things that are messed up, a lot of things in society. I'm a Christian, and I believe that society is going fast away from God. So once you're going away from God, a whole lot of things are messed up. So even with guys wanting to be chased and everything, they will have their excuses, but that is the generation. And if you hold your standards, a lot of the time, your standards will attract the man that you should have, instead of the men that are there that want to be feminine, that want everything coming towards them and not giving anything back. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's the same for men as well. Hold your standards as well.
Real split, bro. Hold your standards. Hold the line, ladies. We have to work to your standards. Hold that line. That's the power that God has given you guys. If we want you, you're gonna have to hold the line. Hold the line. You know what I mean? And they're gonna have to go there. Do you know what I'm saying? So, any other words, ladies, before we jump off? Any other words? If not, we'll wrap it up. Okay, cool. I'll wrap it up. Well, listen, it's been a good conversation. I appreciate ladies and gents joining this live, because I think it's important as well. I will be doing another live on Monday because the ladies, it's your turn. Because what I witnessed the other day, it is testament to what I'm talking about when it comes to maintenance. Yeah, I've done the guys and I've done them well, and I've made sure that the guys are getting the pepper they need, because we need pepper. There's time. We also need some pepper. We need to get ourselves in shape, and I'm with you. But ladies, your time is coming on Monday, because what I witnessed on was it the other week, and when I was talking to the ladies, asking them a question about what they hear, and they couldn't listen very well. We're gonna have a conversation about listening, because clearly the men are suffering, but the ladies are also suffering too. So we're gonna have a real conversation. And I know some of you are gonna say, we listen, but it was hey, I'm just telling you what as men we go through. Yes, Lulybird, you want to say something? You open your mic, go for it.
Yes, Kojo. I was in that
You can say
conversation.
Coco if you want.
It's because you're chocolatey. But anyway, I want to say I was in that conversation, and one thing we do have to be mindful of is people's ability to process information. It's not all the same. There are people that are dealing with things like ADHD. There are people that are on the spectrum, and they're not going to be able to hear what you say, take it in, and bring it back out the same way. I'm someone with ADHD, so I suffer with that. It seems like I'm not listening, but it's not that I'm not listening. It's that my mind just doesn't work the same. So if we can give some kind of credence and some kind of grace for people that may process differently, it's not men and women don't process things the same. It's not that we're not listening, it's that we do it different. So if we can figure out how we do it, how each person in their individuality has their ability to hear things and take in the information, we could get a lot further in conversation. Because how you wanted us to hear, we just ain't built that way, Kojo. We can't do it, sir. It's not we not listening. I heard everything you said, but my mind is trying to respond, and I can't turn that off if I wanted to.
Lulu, I was going to say everything that you said is very true, and we need to have not, I want to say sympathy, the understanding that people sometimes will hear things differently. But sometimes you have to call out selective hearing. Sometimes you have to call that out.
Nah, it was funny. I can't lie to you. It was a funny situation, but I think it opens up the more conversation. And you see, like how we're laughing now. This is what I want to fester more, because we can laugh about it. It's a serious thing, but we can laugh about it. Do you know what I mean? And then that means we can have more conversation at both parties. We can actually address certain issues. I am very much aware as men we got some issues, right? And I'm very much aware that women also got some issues. And I think it's about addressing it in the right way, which is what I was saying earlier on. That when I talk to men, I don't talk to them the same way I talk to women. You know what I mean? When I'm you know what I mean? I'm very much cognizant of the fact that I want the message to land. So I have to be aware that I can't always be, you know what I mean? You know. But Lulu, you said something really important. We'll address this on Monday. You said something, we should have empathy and some care for women, and they're absolutely right, who do have ADHD. I'm absolutely with you. But Lulu, you heard every word I just said, and you were able to reply to it in a way that needs to reply. You did it beautifully. You know what I mean? You even gave me a little nickname in between as well. It was beautiful the way you did it. So evidently, I believe women can do this. I think just like men have faults, I think sometimes women they put the 2 on the 10 and then it just goes into boom. You know what I mean? And so we get these situations where it looks, I don't even say it looks, it is. You're not listening. You are paying attention to thinking I'm coming to hit you with something, and then it becomes something else. So we're gonna have that conversation on Monday. You know what I mean? So yes, Lulu. And then
We're
Kathleen, go off. I saw your mic open.
we're just 2 on 10 type of people. And then when you start like pushing at like you get one of our buttons pushed. Now we're in fight or flight and we're straight at fight. So we can't pull back to even hear what you're saying anymore because my whole nervous system has to get in your behind because I have to clear the air that you just fogged up. And like I mean I run into this when me and my husband have like little conflicts. Like I will run off something and then he's still processing everything said to come with his response, but I'm like, no, this is a chop quick fire debate round. Like where is your answer? Why aren't you answering me? Now I am flipping out, but he processes slower and he wants to come back with a good answer. He don't want to just be like, he just doesn't want to just say everything. But women, when we're in that fight or flight space, we're coming for your mama. Like, don't think because we're just gonna come with every piece of ammunition. You get into it with a woman, you are into it with a Gatling gun. We have a billion rounds and we don't care who we hit. And that's just how we are. Like you can't bring your old timey 6-shooter, or you got that old musket gun that you gotta like put the little powder in with your responses. And yeah, when y'all hit hard, and it's like you'll shut us up eventually. But that's just how our minds are. We're Gatling guns. We're not your muskets.
I hear you. I hear you. Kathy, you want to say something? Go for it.
I do. I was in the chat on that live. And I think from what I gathered, because I was listening to the points, none of it I agreed with. So I think that's probably what happened. That's probably why they couldn't answer. That is what because I was like, because I'm a sweetheart. I'm not mean. I mean, I do have a little crazy side, but that comes out when you keep on pushing. But I couldn't agree with anything. So I was like, I probably would have been quiet too because I couldn't agree. So probably I think that how about men, we can accept that the woman may not just agree with everything you may think is the issue, vice versa. So that opens up room for conversation without the judgment, without any too much deep thinking, but just have a conversation about it because maybe the way it's being presented, they can't agree with it. But if you give some examples, maybe then they may think about it because I had those moments where I'm like, nope, I don't agree with that. But when you start laying out the examples, I'm like, oh, okay. Something I have to work on, So that's what I think was the issue. That I don't think they agreed.
To be fair, on the day, oh my word, I had a war in the chat. I was responding to too many people in that chat. But I did make a point that I said we have to understand that actually on the day there was only Kojo and I forgot the other guy's name.
Yes, Kasim.
Yeah, that's it on the panel. So you have a small sample size of men. Also, there was a point that I know a lot of women in the chat were saying that, oh, how can they agree to something if they disagree with everything? And I said, well, okay, if you really look at it and you're disagreeing with everything that a man says, you might have to look at yourself sometimes, because if you're not agreeing, then it might be something that you want them to agree with you all the time, if you get what I'm saying. And that brings up a point where it might just be you need to work on yourself in actually hearing out what a man says, and vice versa. This is vice versa. This is to men as well. Hearing out what both genders are saying, and actually maybe understanding the point from their view as well. But yeah.
Now, listen, it was a good conversation. I think it was good. I like I said, you know, we have also been, we've fallen prey to this as well as men, you know, and that's why you see Sean, especially on like a lot of the lives now, telling you, I got to see both sides. I got to see both sides, because we as men have done a thing where we see a man get done dirty and we just run to it. Hey, the ways are doing, and then we don't see the other side. We stop listening to what ladies are saying about the other side, right? Me and Sean came on the other day as we were saying, the ladies were right, man. Gil was a dusty, man. Now, like, what we think about it, he's a dusty. You can't have a 401 in Colombia. Like, that's mad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so this was, that's why it was so funny. And I understand, listen, if the ladies just didn't find anything to agree on, then your response would have been, hey, I actually don't agree with anything you said. The response wasn't that. The response actually shifted into, but men do. And I said, you weren't listening. That's why I said they weren't listening, because it actually shifted into men do. And it wasn't actually men do. It was, what do you agree with? So if you disagreed, if you agreed with anything or disagreed with anything, could have said, hey, I don't agree with that particular instance. You know, there's nothing I agree with, so I'll reserve my judgment. Then I'd been like, okay, well, they heard, but they didn't agree. Then we could have maybe had a conversation about what parts you don't agree with. Because me personally, I think we made some valid points. Because the points that the ladies made, I didn't believe that's all men. I think there's some men that you lot are talking about. Some men need to improve, some need to grow, some that. But I took it as, well, let's agree with that point, because I think some men do need to ask that. If I say black women have attitude, there are some of you who have attitude. So someone should have agreed and said, you know, let me take that role and say, I do agree with that point. Not everyone, but someone we need to. It would have been easy to. That's an easy win. You wouldn't have to go in deep. So I think, but I understand when we are having these conversations, it is a bit like how we are dealing with relationships. So it's not just women, it's not just men. We are all trying to grow and be better. And I think that's why I like this space, you know, and that's why I'm laughing now, because I think it was quite funny when I look back at it. I'm like, that was hilarious, because we've all done that before. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that the men, we got to kick up our backside today. We're just saying that Monday, ladies, just come prepared. You know, I keep it respectful. I keep it cute. You saw how I did the men. I kept it with a pepper soup, and I just, you know, I kept it respectful. Monday's your turn. We're just going to talk about the fact that the listening aspect and how, you know, as men, sometimes we be suffering in this area. We'll be telling you, and, you know, be going in, because as Lulu said, sometimes the ADHD, sometimes the proactivity of the mind, you know, sometimes the overexcitement, you know, that you want to get in your job, but at that point, you have to stop listening to us, and then, you know, things start going left and right, you know. So Monday is going to be a great day, you know, where we can all chop it up as well. So, you know, and be ready to come on the panel after as well when we have that conversation, because I think it'd be a good convo to have as well after as well. Okay. All right. So, yes, Lulu, you want to say something before we go? Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to give the ladies a little cheat coach tip. If you're going on the live with Kojo, bring your notebook. Write down everything he said. Write down everything you feel. Then you can present him with what he said. Show him you were listening. Then you can blast him with how you felt right after you said, look, I was listening, and this is what I felt.
Great advice.
I know Lulu's husband has a blast with her, because she's too funny. She be coming up with these things. But nah, listen, Monday's gonna be a good time. Yes, bring your notepads, guys, and blast me after when the live is when the live is done after. Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you, Sam, Kathy, T with Mercy, Lulu as well. Thank you for coming up. Monday we're back. I think I'm gonna do it's gonna be in the morning. So I say it's morning. It's morning for Americans, but it's afternoon for us British people. It's like lunchtime period. But you know, we're gonna have another good conversation, and I've enjoyed this as well. Thank you, ladies, for being respectful, keeping it cute, saying your pieces. Sam, thank you as well for coming true and saying your piece as well. Kathy, thank you too. I think we need more of these conversations, so we're putting them on as well. So, and shout out to Nick May, who also joined the membership as well. Again, next week, not this week, next week, not the week coming, but the week after, we got our next membership live. We'll be doing that on Zoom. So we'll be behind the scenes. Yes, so you can have some real conversations. Okay, all right. And it's gonna get tasty. Okay, so we're gonna keep it real. Listen, audience members, thank you so much. In fact, I expected Mr. 007. He's been fighting in a chat for his life, but he's not come up on here. I was expecting 007 to come up, and you've been doing 007 stuff in the chat, but you've not come here and taken on the mission. 007, where are you? We were hoping for you to come in, and I put a link there. Your last message was 2 minutes ago, which means you're in the chat still. You're instead of warring with the women. Why? Why not come up here and say your piece and let's have a conversation? But you've been warring with the women, sir. I'm looking at you some way because the link has been there for time. 007, 007. You know what happened to the last 007? You're gonna be inconsequential if you keep going away. And next time, Monday, we'll see you in the chat. I want to see you click that live. Okay, don't run from the missions. Okay, 007. It's all banter and love around here, all right? So it's all vibes, okay? But we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Much love and much appreciation. We'll see you guys soon as well. Actually, we've got a men's panel later on this evening. So saying that, we're later on in the evening. So appreciate you guys. Still up, still loaded. We'll see you again soon.